tell us what brings you out to Tech Alley today. Tell us about your connections to the Las Vegas ecosystem, because you and I have never talked before. So I've heard your name many times, but
so we run a very successful global consulting firm for small business owners, entrepreneurs, franchisees, franchise owners. We run 300 live events a year for entrepreneurs, whether it's business conferences, speaker conferences, franchise expos. And I love Las Vegas. You know, I live in Chicago and Nevada, so I get to spend a little time in both markets.
Love it.
And for the last 20 years, I've been able to speak in front of more than 1 million people and serve more than 100,000 customers.
Fantastic.
With some of our courses and programs and books and stuff that we do. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Outstanding. So, what do you think of Tech Alley? This is not your first time.
This is my first time at Tech Alley.
This is your first time at Tech Alley. Impressions.
So I'm just, I just showed up. I met some great people already, and I'm excited to go sit through some of the workshops today.
Okay.
But if you're in anywhere near the art district in Vegas, you should come over.
Yeah, you got to get down.
I don't know how
here.
long does it go for today? I'm not sure. Is it all day?
The first round of talks started. To give you guys the rundown of what a typical Tech Alley is like. 10 a.m. networking starts. So Taverna Costera, our hosts here, provides coffee, water.
Perfect.
They're also the ones who are providing the lunch right now to Tech Alley attendees. Wonderful, wonderful, gracious hosts for us here and for the podcast as well. So that's where we are, Taverna Costera. Networking starts at 10 o'clock. The first round of talks starts at 11. The first round of what we call the meetup starts at 11. That goes for about an hour 15. Then lunch starts. We're in the middle of lunch right now. The next round of talks will kick off at 1:30.
Okay.
And that'll run for about an hour 15. And then I think 2:45 is the last round of talks. That wraps up about 4. And then for December.
And is this once a month or once a week?
Once a month, every third Saturday of the month, downtown Las Vegas. There's a Henderson edition now.
Oh, there is. Okay.
That is on. I don't know if they're always the third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
But they're doing a Wednesday night thing down in Henderson.
That'd be kind of fun because I have a home right in Lake Las Vegas, so not far from that. That'd be kind of cool. We just finished a big conference here. We have a business course called Rainmaker.
Okay, I've heard of that.
It's a 3-day intensive for small business owners. We just finished that at the Paris Hotel.
Very wonderful.
And we had 2 days on digital marketing and 1 day on public speaking.
Oh, fantastic!
It was a 6-day conference, so pretty amazing. The turnout, people came from all over the world, from Tokyo, Dubai, London.
Where can people find out about the next one of those?
You know, if they just, I always like to give away my book. So I wrote a book called The Obvious. They can all get a free copy, and they get a list of all of our events for the whole year. A lot of these events are free. We run CEO summits, I think 10 times a month in different cities around the world. But if they just text the word WIN to 26786, they get the book, they get the newsletter, and they get free tickets for some of the luncheons.
There you go. So there's your answer.
You showed up and you got some gifts.
So 2024 is wrapping up.
Yeah.
Highlights from 2024.
Trump won.
Okay.
That was a big highlight. So I was able to open up for him at UNLV in front of 18,000 people.
Okay.
And I think our country is ready for a fresh approach to looking at efficiency, to business ownership. I'd like to help with the Small Business Administration.
Okay.
So I've talked to the transition team. We hosted President Trump here. I was part of the Win 47 committee.
Okay.
Here with one of my clients in town, Mr. Ahern. And it was really kind of fun to be a part of that. To be at the inauguration will be fun. To be at the party where they won in Palm Beach was very much like a surreal event.
I bet.
But pretty neat to be a part of history. And I've been able to help one of the guys named RFK Jr. Has become a good friend over there. We hosted him last year with Tucker Carlson at a big event that I was co-chair and sponsored and helped run. So I think there's a lot of good things happening.
Okay.
I'm really excited for the entrepreneurs for the next year.
Okay.
I feel the business climate is going to attract even more entrepreneurs to come in the U.S. to do business.
I think so.
And I think business owners should be ready. They should be geared up to go all in their businesses.
Gas pedal down. That's what I think. That's what no matter what happens, I think if you're an entrepreneur with ready to get your foot on the gas, 2025 is going to be a great year for you.
And if we share this on our social, maybe tell some of my audience what it is you do.
So I have
you guys are.
I have a couple things going on. Yeah. So I was in the Air Force for 20 years.
Thanks
I take
for your
all
service.
of that. Thank you. All of that knowledge and experience. I have a company where I do leadership and strategy training for businesses.
Boy, yeah,
so
perfect.
And then I've started a podcast as a result of that business to market that business.
Got it.
That's grown into. I'm also when I was working on my MBA at UNLV, I was part of something called Rebel Venture Fund,
Sure.
which is a student-led angel investing fund. If you had told me when I was in the Air Force 10 years ago that I would be looking at deals and looking at pitches and giving feedback to investors on their pitches, I would have told you
You're
crazy.
crazy, yeah.
But I fell in love with looking at pitches and doing deals.
Well, you should also look at the government has a large amount of RFPs available for leadership training.
Yep.
For many areas of the government employees.
That's on my list of things to do for this year because I've just created.
And now you can automate the RFP. So there's AI that'll automate some of the stuff for you. Where some of these contracts are not small; they're in the
big,
hundreds of thousands of dollars to re-coach and re-energize leadership in not just in corporate America, but in the public sector and the people that serve there. So I think they need some more of your leadership.
Yeah,
It'd be kind of cool.
So into it. That's on my list. That's on my list of things to.
And how do they get information about what you're doing?
Well, they're watching me here, but you can go.
I mean, if this gets replayed, I gotta.
Oh yeah.
We have a pretty big following. I think I have 600,000 followers on Instagram alone.
Yeah.
So if we tag my Instagram, that'll probably
absolutely
help boost your video views.
Absolutely, we will. We'll get your information before we get out of here.
It's just my name. It's just Bill Walsh 360.
Okay, Bill Walsh 360.
If you do a little short video and then share it,
I'll
share it with you.
We'll create a bunch of clips on this.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I don't usually pitch my company on this, but
you should.
It's LeDuc Leadership. Go to LeDucLeadership.com. Find us on all the social media. It's actually on my LeDuc Leadership channel right now. So.
And we opened a new podcast mansion here in town.
I do.
So Jackson Wright runs the mansion. If you ever want to come to an interview, we'd love to have you there.
Yeah, I would love to, and I would love to get interviewed. And I hope when you get to DC and doing all the great things you're doing as you're traveling around, remember us here doing our little show here in Las Vegas, and we'll jump on a plane and bring the gear. And
the little show can become the big show.
Yeah, we'll come out and we'll talk to whoever you think is valuable for us to talk to, because everybody's got lessons.
Well, I mean, I almost think you want to be in town. In DC, like the 18th to the 21st.
Okay.
Just because of the number of sheer leadership that's coming in from all over the country, they'll all converge on DC.
Absolutely.
So whether it's the Hispanic groups, the multicultural groups, the state groups, the senatorial groups, they all have different balls and events going on.
Yeah.
That anytime you've got the media passes, I would be there.
Yeah, I will check that out to see if I can still jump in on that, because Dave and I were just talking before you came on. We were talking about like dream guests for our podcast, and I didn't know anybody by name, but something that's really interesting to me is to find like the chief of staff to like a senator or a House representative.
I can do that for you.
Yeah, and talk to them about like how do you balance the big vision, the big lofty goals, the big what we say in public versus the nuts and bolts of getting stuff done, and how do you keep that team moving and true to the vision?
Well, I think so much that happens behind the scenes. What you see on TV is maybe 2% of what really happens.
Absolutely, and
then it's all those what we call power meetings where there's always a give and take.
And that's what I think is really interesting. Yeah. That's what I think an audience who wants to become emerging leaders and stronger leaders is. Those are the lessons I think are really interesting.
Well, keep up the great work.
All right, thank you, sir.
Anything I do to help, let me know.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time today.
Bill Walsh,
thanks for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Talk to you
You've
soon.
got a seat here anytime, sir.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks.